Chapter 3, Code and Expression. At this point, we have adopted a computational model of the character and the human being. For the purposes of this thesis, the human being is that which is capable of playing out character. It is the medium of character, a material for possession. Just as a computer, a universal computing machine, can in principle run any computation, within a computational model of the self, a human being can in principle run any character where character is understood as a transferable pattern of human behaviour. Using this analogy, we can take character to be something like a computer program, a piece of software or code that can be run by the human being as computing machine and which can be copied and distributed between such human beings. The relationship between the human being and character, between hardware and software, between a force field and a wave, or more generally between any medium and the performance it facilitates, is a rather eerie relationship. Evocative of body and spirit, within all these dualisms, there is a simultaneous intimacy and alienation between the medium and the performance, which gives the latter a ghostly, transcendent quality. Such dualisms exhibit a relationship without a touch, where the performance hovers eerily above the medium at a higher level of organization. So this thing that emerges, character, is an emergent phenomenon in relation to that medium. And I think that footnote there, 204, I should read because that concept, that terminology, relationship without a touch, comes from my father. So the relationship without a touch is a term I am borrowing from Miloš Ranković through personal communication. It is used to describe the simultaneous dependence and independence of a superstratum to its substratum, a ghostly interaction analogous to a mind's relationship to its constituent neurons. So, in this chapter, we focus on the software side of that dualism, the character that is played out by the human being. In particular, we look at how character scripts the human being by considering the features of a script more generally. A script can be thought of as a dual mechanism of code and expression. The difference and interplay between code and expression can be observed in a number of different kinds of scripts playing out on very different kinds of substrata. A computer may have some code stored on its hard drive that it can then run. A biological organism stores code, DNA, in its cells, and its ribosomes pass its instructions. A theatre performance is encoded in a script and then executed by performers. Codes of conduct, etiquette, and social scripts likewise guide the daily behaviour performed by people in social settings. Whether genetic, computational, or social, scripts appear to be predicated on the more general performative potential of a code and its expression of writing, code, and reading, expression. Character too is encoded and expressed, written and read. Thinking more generally about the role of scripting in the creation of autonomous agents becomes particularly relevant for a storytelling practice that strives to employ words towards achieving the Frankensteinian ideal of making fictional characters come to life. The dual mechanism of code and expression carries with it a fundamental performativity, providing a mechanical account of agency that preserves its ghost. If character were a script, then that which feels most real and substantial to us could in theory be written and rewritten by aesthetic and textual tampering. The skill, the art in my performance practice has precisely been to train myself in the language of writing and reading character. I've become a character programmer where the machine I'm working on is my own self. When I perform, I program character, overwriting my default character. Then I press run. I play out that character. I allow it to govern my being. This is how art practice enables me to experimentally address the theoretical distinction between character and the human being. First, we will approach fictional characters, such as appear in novels and plays, and compare their status as agents to that of human beings. This will then lead us to ask about the relationship between prescription and autonomy, and whether the two are necessarily at odds, touching upon current advances within the field of artificial intelligence. We will then ask how scripting relates to spontaneity, asking whether these two are necessarily opposites, before finally speculating on art practice as one arena in which it might be possible to script an agent.